and the Greater Dayton Area League of Women Voters presents Meet the Candidates, your chance to learn about the candidates running for office in the November election.
Hi, I'm Patty Skilkin. I'm a member of the League of Women Voters of the Greater Dayton area, and we're here today to talk to the two candidates for mayor of the city of Dayton, A.J. Wagner and Nan Whaley. We're going to start out by giving each of them 2 minutes to tell you whatever they want to tell you, why they're running, what their qualifications are. We're going to start with Nan because I believe in girls going first. Nan, 2 minutes to tell us whatever you want.
Thanks, Patty, and thanks for the League and Dayton DATV for putting this event together. It's a great effort that you all put together each year, and appreciate it takes a lot of work to do this, so appreciate you guys working on it. As you said, my name is Nan Whaley. I'm running for mayor of the city of Dayton, really because I think we need a mayor that is full-time and really focused around job creation. And to that end, I put together what I call a roadmap for a new Dayton. It's on my website at nanwhaley.com, and you can click roadmap. And it's focused around job creation, a jobs vision, our neighborhoods, and being an open and vibrant community. So it's around 11 pages, but specifically around jobs, really working with our manufacturing base, and I've done some of that work today, and promoting our greater downtown, making sure that we work with Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, using our water, and a number of other things for job creation in the city, because if people have jobs, a lot of other issues take care of themselves in our community. Also have worked hard to take down vacant properties to stabilize values in the city, and so I continue to do that as mayor. I'm talking about how we redefine and revision our neighborhoods is another part of the plan. And then finally, really being an open, vibrant community, making sure that we are open to everyone in the city of Dayton. I think it's what makes us special and makes the core a really significant urban place that everybody can feel welcome in the city, and so really making sure that we continue that history and that legacy moving on. So really pleased to be here today, and thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you. AJ, your turn. 2 minutes to tell us whatever you want.
Thank you very much. When I first got into this job of running for mayor, which is a job, I thought, well, my teaching experience might be helpful here. I have an education degree, and I think that our schools need some attention, and I want to work with the schools to make them better. I thought that maybe my work as a county auditor, chief financial officer of Montgomery County, might be helpful, because certainly finances need to be paid attention to. I also thought that being a judge for 10 years might be helpful, since we have a lot of issues with crime, and the criminal justice system is certainly a part of that. But nothing has been more important, I found out. Nothing's been more important than my business experience as a business manager, as a business owner, and as a consultant to businesses, as an attorney. We have lost 9,000 jobs, a net loss of 9,000 jobs over the past 5 years. We've lost 700 just in the past 2 reports. That's the past 2 months, a net loss of 700 jobs. Dayton is dying. Right before our eyes, it is dying. And if we don't do something to turn it around, then it will die. We need to put forth a jobs plan that not just says we're going to bring jobs here, but says how we're going to do that. The first thing I hope to do is bring in somebody who understands business. Bring in a top-level manager who has business experience, who understands what it takes to run a business, who knows business language, who knows business needs, who knows what business wants, who knows customer service and knows how to provide service to our businesses so that they can come here, they can grow here, and they can stay here. Those are the things that we need most in the city right now.
Thank you. We're going to start with you, AJ, on our first question. You'll have 2 minutes to answer it. You've already touched on some of these issues, but now you can expand. Dayton has a public relations problem. Businesses are relocating outside the city, sometimes outside the county, leaving a lot of empty office space in downtown Dayton. Do you agree that that is a problem, and how would you like to take care of it?
Yeah, it's a really big problem. If you look at the number of businesses that have left here over the last just couple of years, the numbers really add up quick. I mean, there are literally dozens of businesses who've left town. And I don't know exactly why. You'd have to ask each business their own story, but it certainly seems that the anecdotal evidence is true. That anecdotal evidence seems to bear out that they don't have good relationships with the city. that the city doesn't treat them with respect, doesn't treat them well, doesn't help them out, doesn't assist them in their needs to grow their business or keep their business here in Dayton. That is a real problem here. Recently, a business called Pepco wanted to locate in Dayton, and there was a big announcement back in April that they were bringing 250 manufacturing jobs to Dayton. They were going to locate on McCall Street. And by June, they were fed up and they left. They dropped the deal, and that was it. Those are the kinds of things that keep happening here. And unless we really engage businesses on a business-to-business basis, that is, get a business leader inside City Hall who can engage them and understand them and respect them, and we do good customer service with them, then we're going to continue to lose businesses. We're going to continue to lose those jobs. And as we continue to lose the jobs, we lose our tax base, and we lose our opportunities to do all the other kinds of things that we want to do and we need to do to maintain a good, viable city.
Thank you. Nan, we're going to continue talking about that. Do you think it's tough to do business in Dayton, and what can we do about that?
Well, I think one of the key points is we have been through the Great Recession, which has been the largest economic loss in the country since the Great Depression. So it's no surprise that every community in the state has had job loss, the state has and the country has. And so, of course, over those past 5 years, we've had to deal with those issues. And now we've done them managing our budget, making sure that we don't raise taxes, and giving the services that the citizens really need. When I talk about the jobs plan, it's about using our assets as a city, our greater downtown area, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, the Dayton International Airport, to really work and create jobs. It's easy to say, oh, well, they just didn't like the city and they got fed up, but more issue is that it was a tough economic time the past 5 years. And our aligning with our assets has proven to have some great results. CareSource is creating new jobs. Composite Advantage in East Dayton, creating new manufacturing jobs. Malt Products in West Dayton, creating new jobs. So having those relationships with our companies in the city is important, and we need to continue to do that. Now, we need to do more with small business. I think that that's a really key point that we can really listen to. It's different than the large manufacturing companies that the city talks to all the time, or the premiers and CareSources. So as mayor, I would put together a small business advisory council to really listen in, have the mayor sit with them to really listen in and understand the issues, because it is a big issue to meet payroll every week, to make sure that you have covered what needs to be covered in this tough job market. And so that is something I would commit to doing as mayor.
Thank you. Nan, we're going to stick with you. Where am I here? Oh, how do you differentiate the role of mayor from the role of city council?
I think the key point is my experience on the commission has been helpful, because I have great relationships with the city commissioners, and all of the commissioners have endorsed me. I think that says a lot about our relationship. And it also tells me a lot of how City Hall works recently in these past 8 years that really helps get that focus. But the key difference for mayor, and it was a decision to run that I really thought a lot about, was really being the voice for the community and making sure that we could use the mayor's bully pulpit to really make Dayton thrive and to have us to really create and grow jobs. Now, you know, as commissioner, I've had abilities to work and reach out with small businesses or companies like Midmark that recently moved to Dayton. But, you know, as mayor, I think I could do a lot more, because businesses want to talk to the mayor, and they want to work with the mayor. And I think that's a really key point that is different than being a commissioner. As commissioner, I worked a lot on doing neighborhood activities and making sure that we really worked on our housing stock and making sure that, you know, we went for dollars to take down vacant properties. And I'm proud of that work and would continue that work. But using the mayor's bully pulpit to really create jobs in the community and in the region is something that I would be proud to do.
Thank you. AJ, same question. How do you differentiate the two roles?
Yeah, thank you. There is a difference. Although in the charter, the only difference is that the mayor really calls the meetings and calls them to order and conducts the meetings. That's about it. Everybody's got one vote. But the difference is that bully pulpit. The difference is the ability to draw people together and bring groups together to kind of co-lead the city. People call for leadership all the time in the mayor's office and in the city. I think we've got lots of leaders in the city, and we've got to bring them all together, and we've got to make sure they're on the same page, and we've got to work together to make sure that we're going in the same direction and trying to get the same things done. I do disagree with Commissioner Whaley on why businesses have left this city. Businesses didn't leave because of the recession. Almost every one of those businesses who left in the last couple of years are still in business. They're still thriving, but they're just not thriving in Dayton anymore because they got out of Dayton. We need a mayor who sits down with those folks, talks to them, works with them, finds out what their needs are, and makes sure that those needs are met to the extent possible. They don't want everything, or they'll ask for everything. They won't want everything. They want to be treated fairly. And the mayor's got to make sure, above all, that he treats everybody fairly. And I hope that I can bring that kind of sense to the mayor's office from my experience as a judge and from my experience in finance in the past. So I see the mayor's job as a collaborator, as someone who brings everybody together as the bully pulpit and says this is the direction we need to go once we've done our consultation with everyone in the community.
AJ, if you were elected, what would your top 3 priorities be?
That's jobs is definitely number one. Without the jobs, we can't do the other priorities that I might set. When you lose 9,000 jobs in 5 years, that means you lose, assuming a $40,000 salary, which is the average salary around Dayton, if you lose a $40,000 salary, you lose $1,000 in tax base. That means 9,000 jobs, we lose $9 million in tax base. Losing that much in tax base means we're going to have a hard time doing the other things that we need to do. But so jobs has to be number one on that list. We have to rebuild our city and we have to rebuild our tax base. We have to rebuild our population. Without jobs, we can't do that. Number 2 is education. We want to make sure that our kids are educated, and we want them educated from the cradle all the way through college. We have to start looking at kids when they're very young and getting them their educated needs so that they're prepared to go to preschool and prepared to go to kindergarten. They're prepared for school and then hopefully prepared for college. We also have concerns with our safety in our city. We want to make sure that the city is a safe place to be. We want to try and increase the numbers of police and fire forces so that our citizens, when they call upon them, will have a response, and a quick response and an effective response so that we can take care of crime.
Thank you. Nan, AJ said jobs, education, and safety. What would your 3 be? Do you have different ones? Did you like his?
Well, no, I mean, as I said before, I have a roadmap for a new Dayton that you can see on my site, and really it's around jobs and really having actionable things that the city and the mayor and the commission can do to make sure that we create jobs. Our neighborhoods, making sure we have strong city services and making sure that we stabilize our housing as well as using education around our neighborhoods. You know, the school sites are key parts to our neighborhoods, and then being an open and vibrant community. I think it's really important that, you know, being an open community promotes economic development. This week, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce named the city of Dayton as one of the 7 enterprising cities in the United States. The only city in the Midwest in that list, cities like Salt Lake City, Utah, San Antonio, Texas. That tells us that our actions of what we're doing to make sure that we use our assets and are an open community will help create jobs. When someone like the U.S. Chamber of Commerce even agrees that we're doing the right things on jobs, I think that's a pretty positive remark.
Thank you. We've been hearing some scuttlebutt about regionalism lately. How do you feel about regionalism, and to what extent are you for or against regionalism?
I think the key on regionalism is making sure that we pay attention to the income side and revenue sharing. I think that that's the way to make the pie bigger is key, and really to work to continue to make sure that we're not fighting for different businesses across Dayton or Kettering or Dayton or Clayton. I think that there's great opportunities there as long as we talk about the revenue side. On service delivery, we do some of that already. For example, the city of Dayton provides the trash pickup for both the Jefferson Township and Riverside, and so we have been the low bidder as a government on that, really providing services, and we're in regional dispatch, so we always look for opportunities of ways that we can partner. I think that the regional conversation needs to be more about us coming together as a community. When I was as city commissioner, I've been a leader in putting together what we call Ohio's Great Corridor, where the 15 cities along the river come together and really talk about how the river is key for us and how we can each work together to create tourism and economic development opportunities from Piqua to Fairfield, and that's really our super region. So I think that that's really important in the conversation, and we also need to champion when jobs come in other places. For example, the latest announcement along the I-70-75 corridor, we've been champions of that as the city, as with the airport being right next to it. That's good for the whole community, and we know that those jobs are good for the whole region. So there's opportunities like that where we have resources like I-70-75, which is unique to the entire region, just like the urban core is unique to the city of Dayton and then unique for the region as well.
AJ, give us your thoughts on regionalism. How do you like it and how do you not like it?
Yeah, you know, I like it. I was on a committee about 30 years ago, 25, 30 years ago. I'm afraid to say it might even be more, with Chuck Horn when he was a county commissioner, and he was looking at regionalism. And when we sat down with a committee of folks and we started looking at regionalism even that long ago, we were looking at the Indianapolis model, and we were trying to figure out how we could do that to create regionalism here in Dayton. And we came to the conclusion after several meetings that we couldn't, that politically it just wasn't viable. I'm glad that we're looking at it again, and I wish Commissioner Foley and others well who are trying to make this happen, but I don't know that it's any more politically viable now than it was back then. So we have to look at other ways that we can work together to make our cities more efficient, and that means working with other cities. Can we combine certain services? Can we combine certain departments? Can we combine the kinds of things that we're all doing anyway and create some efficiencies with them? We have to look not just at the cities, but we have to look at other governments, entities. For instance, we have a lot of computer needs. So does everybody else. Is there a possibility, for instance, of working with Sinclair College or with the Dayton City Schools or with other governmental entities who also have large computer needs so that we can combine our forces and create a system that works for everybody? I don't know. I'm really thinking out of the box on that one, but I do know that there are going to be opportunities, and we have to look at all of them. And we have to make sure that regionalism means not just Montgomery County, but it also means our friends over in Beaver Creek, in Tip City, and down in Springboro as well. We need to work with everybody that's considered part of the Dayton region to make sure that we're heading in the same direction.
AJ, by the time this airs, hopefully this problem will be resolved. But at midnight last night, the government shut down, the federal government shut down. This issue may come up again and again, given the political climate in Washington. How is that going to affect Dayton if this shutdown goes on more than 3 or 4 days?
Well, I know that because we rely so much on the basin and we have so many federal employees in this area, that it's going to hurt our economy. We're talking about millions of dollars every day that are being drained from our economy, or at least that are not being put into their economy because of the shutdown. And that can't help but have impact on our retailers, on our businesses that rely on consumers to buy their products. It can also have a long-term effect in terms of those businesses who were hoping to make additional investments into their business and to grow their businesses during this period of time. This will hold them back. The sequestration has already hurt us, and the sequestration has held us back considerably in our abilities to grow businesses around here. And this adds to the dilemma, or to the problem. Politics is just a big mess right now, and we have to learn to get past politics and to govern. I really think that that's why I have the slogan. That is why I have the slogan: less politics, more change. We need less politics in this business and more change.
And what are your thoughts on this shutdown? How are we going to get hurt? And is there anything that we can do locally to ease the pain?
Right. You know, as the sequester happened, we did a lot of advocating as a commission and did efforts around, you know, even at the Wesley Center, I remember going and talking about the effects that the sequester would have on the city of Dayton and the region. Just this morning, I think the Dayton Business Journal or Dayton Daily News announced that we are one of the hardest hit regions in the country because of Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, with the furloughs and the efforts coming along with the shutdown. And it is unfortunate. You know, in local government, we have to work together, balance our budget, and move on to provide the day-to-day services that people rely on: police, fire, trash pickup, and we do that. And it is unfortunate when a small section of of the country or a group of people can completely shut down our federal government. It's a sad day, I think, in the U.S., and I think most people just want us to do our jobs and do our very best, and I can't say that they're doing that in Washington, D.C. today.
I don't think anybody would argue with that either.
I don't think so.
I'm going to give you each 2 minutes to answer whatever question you wish I'd asked you and didn't, or tell us anything you want to tell us about yourself, or you can tell jokes. It doesn't matter. You each have 2 minutes. Nan, we'll start with you.
Well, this is great. You know, I normally don't get to
Know any
answer
good ones?
any question I don't have. I mean, I think one of the things I'd like to talk about is I'm really proud of the work that we've done at the city and really fighting for dollars to make sure that we take care of abandoned properties. It's an issue that when I came in as the commissioner, we were only taking down around 50 properties a year. This year we've exceeded 500 properties taken down because these are, you know, older properties that are, you know, I call them the 2-bedroom, 1-bath filled with lead paint. No one is going to really want to live, and it's affecting the property values around it. And so that's been a big effort that I'm proud of, that we have a lot of work to do still, but we've really changed direction and course as a city commissioner. And, you know, really I'm proud of the leadership I've provided on that effort. It's important. I mean, I live in the Five Oaks neighborhood, so I know what it's like to have a vacant property sitting next to you or behind you, and how that is a safety issue and how you have to live with that every day. And so we're really trying to do that for the folks that are living in our community so they can have more space and feel safer in our neighborhoods. The former fire chief called it one of the best things to happen to keep arsons down, and we're seeing that it's really helping on public safety as well. So I'm really proud of that work.
Thank you. AJ, your turn.
One of the things I think that's most necessary in our government right now is change. I respect Commissioner Whaley and her 8 years of service to the city, but during that 8 years of service, we lost 9,000 jobs. I can't say that enough. It is having a massive impact on our city and our city's ability to govern and to do the kinds of services that we want. We've also had too many politics. I mean, Commissioner Whaley lives in the Five Oaks neighborhood. Right next to that is Grandview Hospital. Grandview Hospital was going to do a major build out, and they were going to go over to Main Street and build out their campus with outpatient facilities and with doctor's offices and high-paying jobs that would help our community. They wanted to do it with a tax increment financing plan that would allow them to reinvest in the infrastructure of that area. That includes Five Oaks and Grafton Hills, to rebuild those areas. But because Congressman Turner provided much of the funding for that build out, when neighborhood leaders confronted Commissioner Whaley on why she would not agree to the financing package with the tax increment financing for the build out, she said, well, maybe if this wasn't a Congressman Turner project, we could do something. It's just that kind of politics that we need to get out of city government so that we can move our city forward.
I'm going to give you 1 minute to respond to that, Nan.
Well, this is an issue that AJ keeps on bringing up that's a figment of some of these neighborhood leaders' imagination, and AJ's as well. You can talk to Richard Haas and the folks at Grandview, and they'll tell you that I've been a huge partner and a huge advocate for how they've redesigned Grandview. We just did the ribbon cutting for their new front door. The reason why the project changed was because ODOT came the week after with the new 75 rebuild, and we had to start all over. And we actually worked with Grandview and partnered with them to make sure that the ODOT exit helped Grandview Medical Center, so they would have an entryway off of that exit. And they're very grateful for our work. The TIF effort was in the height of the housing bubble. If that TIF would be in place right now, it's bad public policy because the values in the city of Dayton have significantly gone down considering what's happened with the housing crisis. So this is the kind of politics that needs to stop. I work with across the aisle with Senator Beagle on manufacturing issues, Representative Butler. We will do whatever we need to do to make sure investment comes into the city, and I'm proud of that history.
All right, we're going to have to agree to disagree on some subjects. You wouldn't be candidates for the same office if you didn't. I want to thank you, both of you, for coming.
Thank you.
Being part of this conversation is enormously helpful to the voters, and the League is proud to be here. We want to thank DATV for, they donate their time, and this is free to us. The League of Women Voters is a completely nonpartisan organization. We never support or oppose a candidate or a party, ever. Our job is simply to inform voters and try to get everybody to participate in the democratic process. We will also be staffing a hotline beginning some date, October 14th, I think, at 228-4041, 228-4041. We'll be staffed. If you have questions about where you vote, what ID you need, call that number, we can help you. Again, thank you both so much. It's always a pleasure to talk to you guys.
Thank you very much.
Good to see you.